The Irish Champion Stakes is the big race tomorrow at Leopardstown. Really, really looking forward to it. Here's just a few thoughts that I have on the race. Call it a preview if you like. Not necessarily a tip or anything like that, but it's just how I'm seeing the race. And I'd be interested to know what you think as well. King of Steel and Auguste Rodin at the top of the market, 3-1 and 7-2. The 2 3-year-olds. They finished first and second in the Derby at Epsom. I can see why they're up there, but there's no real juice in their prices based on what they've actually achieved, I don't think. I think it's interesting that they're both stepping from 12 furlongs back to 10 furlongs. King of Steel ran a cracking race in the King George, just didn't quite get home over the 12 furlong trip on the good to soft ground. He's definitely got the pace for 10 furlongs, I think. And he'll be interested in getting £6 from the older horses. Auguste Rodin, of course, the Derby winner, but he was just so disappointing at Ascot, and I find it very difficult to overlook the fact that A, he completely flopped in the King George, and B, his win at the Curragh in the Irish Derby following up his Epsom win was actually about £4 or £5 below his Epsom run. So he's regressed since Epsom, and that's not really what you want to see going into a race like this. So considering that both of those horses are 3-1 and 7-2 at the top of the market there, I would have no interest in backing either of those horses personally, but I'd be willing to take on board what any of you guys think. Alflela for Owen Burrows and Jim Crowley, the Shadwell horse. Now, he is interesting because at this point in the season, you're looking for horses that are potential improvers. He'd been campaigned over 7 furlongs, 8 furlongs, 9 furlongs up until York last time out, where he actually showed quite a nice turn of foot to beat My Prospero. I'm just not convinced fully yet that he's going to get home in a really truly ran 10 furlong race at the top level. They didn't go the strongest of paces there at York, and I'm just not sure that he's been fully tested yet. So I respect him, but again, do I really want to back him at 5 or 6-1? Not really. Nashwa, she would be on my shortlist, I think. She just has a lot of class. She's so consistent. She proved that she stays the trip in no uncertain terms this season. She ran a cracker last time out behind Mostadaf at York. You know, you could argue that this is a slight step down on that because he's not here, Mostadaf. I don't think that she'll be bothered by the occasion. She's very straightforward. She has a great turn of foot. She gets on very well with Holly Doyle. She ticks a lot of boxes, Nashwa. So at 7-1, I could see the each way angle for her. So she would be on my shortlist. Onesto, I think he was second in the race last year, wasn't he? Onesto, yes, he was, behind Luxembourg. I can't see any obvious reason why he'd reverse that form with Luxembourg. And his season has been a little bit hit and miss since that. You know, he's ran to 2 RPRs of 113, only ran to an RPR of 117 last time out behind Inspiral. That was a good effort. I think he'd probably prefer a shower of rain, and I'm not sure they're going to get that over in Leopardstown, though I'm recording this having not looked at the weather. And you know what Ireland is like, and anything can happen, but I don't think it's going to rain much at Leopardstown. So Onesto wouldn't really be for me. He does have Frankie on board, and I suppose you have to respect him. But at 6 or 7-1, he wouldn't be for me. Al Rifa, I know that a couple of people like him. He's a very, very good-looking horse, Al Rifa, and showed some very bright promise as a 2-year-old. The worry I have with him is that, you know, he's never even been placed in a Group 1 over a mile, let alone a mile and 2. Now, he's ran well and been second in 2 starts over 10 furlongs in his last 2 outings. Wasn't beaten far by Ace Impact last time out, who's favourite for the Arc. On paper, that looks great, but the reality is he only ran to a Racing Post rating of 112. So on that, he would need to improve £10, maybe more, just to hit the frame in this race. So at 8, 9, 10-1, he wouldn't be for me, you know, Al Rifa, as much as I respect him, and I suspect that he might put in a career best, but even a career best here might not be enough for him to get into the top 2 or 3 in this race. Luxembourg, again, I would add him as my second horse on the shortlist. For me, Luxembourg, he won the race last year. He's going to love the quick ground. I think his entire season will have been geared around repeating his win in this race last year. You know, Aidan O'Brien is a creature of habit sometimes, and if he knows that a horse has got an ability to win a certain race, he'll go there again. And Luxembourg won the race nicely last year. I think he'll prefer conditions this year. I don't think it's a strong looking renewal, but I don't think it's miles stronger than last year's renewal. So Luxembourg and Nashua would be my two on the short list there. Spruill, I actually backed Spruill in the Derby at Epsom. He finished fourth, so I got my each way money on Spruill in the Derby. I then thought that he would have a good chance in the Irish Derby, but he performed very, very badly. Didn't improve as I thought he might. Could I see him turning the corner? I mean, I struggle with it, to be honest. He went badly backwards in the Irish Derby. He did win at Leopardstown over 10 furlongs before that, but that was on soft, heavy ground in a Group 3. This is a much, much sterner examination of his talents. And I suppose I would have him on my shortlist as a relatively lively outsider. I wouldn't fall off my chair if he got into the first 3 or 4 or 5, but it's hard to see him winning. Point Lonsdale, a nice horse, but in reality he's got no chance. So I think my shortlist, if I was to go each way in the race, would be probably between Nashua and Luxembourg, with a due nod towards Alflela as an improving horse who's won his last 4 races. And if I had to pick between King of Steel and August, I'd probably go with King of Steel. As to where I would actually put my money in this race, I might have a bet in it. I want to see what the trainers are saying about their horses. I need to go and check the weather, and just 1 or 2 other bits and bobs before I make any decision. I reckon it's probably 60-40 in favour of not having a bet in the race, but I will see. But that's my feelings on it anyway. I'm very interested to know what yours are. Let me know. The Irish Champion Stakes, an absolutely cracking race. Always a very, very good race. I don't have a particularly great record in it, usually from trying to take on Aidan O'Brien horses and failing miserably. But it's always, it does throw up some classic tussles, this race. So I'm really interested to see what way it pans out with, you know, the 2 top middle distance 3-year-old colts against some very, very interesting older horses. And then you've got the likes of Nashua thrown in the mix, last year's winner and the last year's second thrown in the mix as well. So it's a very, very solid race, despite only 9 runners. And as I say, 1.25 million euros in prize money as well. So there's a lot at stake in the 320 at Leopardstown tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.